Hello, friends. Welcome to Bartel's Money Talk. I'm Johnny.
And I am Teresa. And today I have to tell you, if you want to change your life, if you're tired of being in debt, and you're looking for a different way out, you need to stay for this entire episode. We have with us Mr. and Mrs. Bang. We are hanging with the Bangs, and that's their YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about them also and what their channel is with RV living, please go to their channel and subscribe. And so now I want Kelsey and Jake to tell us a little bit about themselves.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Of course, we are so happy you're here.
Yeah. So with our life, we were in so much debt. We had like about 80,000 in debt, and we knew we wanted to change our life. Something needed to change, and we wanted to be kind of more nomadic. We were really big consumers, and we just needed something to change. And so we kind of pushed through and forced ourselves to get rid of all our things, to sell our house, and to downsize and to live in an RV full time. And we've been doing it for about a year. And it's not to say it's without its challenges and things that we're working through, but it's been a great experience so far. So that's where we're at now. We've been living off of some savings for a while, and we've been loving it. It's been great.
Yeah.
That is so good. And so did you all have a plan prior to deciding that you're going to sell everything, like to get out of debt? So was there a plan first?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, forget this. We're going to do it this way.
Yeah, there was a big plan because we were in debt. So the RV actually wasn't our original plan. We wanted to be out on a sailboat. That was, we love the ocean. Like, that is our dream. And so that's actually still our dream that we are working towards right now. And so originally when it was when COVID had hit, and I saw all the shelves empty, and I just kind of had this panic attack, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just went into this overconsumption mode, and I'm like, here I am doing this again. But I'm actually a really big preparer. We were already prepared. I did not need to buy anything extra, but I just was going over the top. And so I kind of had like a realization that night of just like, what am I doing? And this random YouTube video popped up of this cute family who likes to sail. And I had just never known that was a possibility. I didn't know that was a lifestyle. And so I had said to Jake, I was like, so what's your feelings if we like sold everything and went and lived on a sailboat? And he was so cute. He was like, all right,
like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Now, a little context though, my grandma growing up, my grandma lived on a sailboat. So for me, I'm like, oh, it's totally normal. My grandma's lived on a sailboat as long as I can remember. I'd gone out a couple summers with her and sailed and stuff like that. So I was just like, oh yeah, sure, we could totally do that. But
yeah.
We did have a lot of stuff.
So we had like sat down and made a game plan. And because at that point we were 80,000 in debt, we had school debt, we had credit card debt, and we had just done IVF, infertility treatments. And so we had wrapped all of that together. We talked to my mom, and we were like, and had gotten a loan out with her for our 80,000. And just to consolidate things down. So I'm grateful that was an option, because we were able to get those high interest rates a lot more down by consolidating everything. Because I think it was 4.25% with her rate that we had. And I mean, she was awesome. There was no pressure or, things like that. But for us, we just wanted to get that paid off. But so we had sat down and like made our game plan. Like, we put a boat up on our wall of what we wanted. I picked it out. Like, I even named it Bangarang because our last name's Bang. And I was like, this is Bangarang. This is what we're working towards. This is the boat. And so, yeah, we just set in plan like how we're going to get this debt paid off, because I didn't want to jump into this lifestyle. And I knew we had enough equity in our home that we could pay off our debt, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to live cash, like pay for a boat in cash, sell off, and have the dream. And so I just knew we had to change our habits and the way we were living and consuming before I felt comfortable jumping into this lifestyle.
Yeah, and part of that process that I feel like we tried to tackle was kind of that pain of getting rid of stuff, because because that's the thing. Like, anytime we had to like sell something or ship something out or list something on eBay or take photos of something to list it and things like that, it was a painful process emotionally, and it was just physically enduring. Like, you're doing that all day, every day. We did that for months and months and months trying to get rid of stuff. And as we're doing that, I'm finding myself, I don't want to buy another single thing if I'm going to have to get rid of it. Like, and this pain, because we did end up donating a lot of stuff as well and things like that. But, like, there were times when I just wanted to say, no, I just want to donate everything to Goodwill, just get it out of here. But still, even that process of loading up truckloads and truckloads of stuff to donate, it's tedious and time consuming. But yeah, it was that kind of helped me to try to. That was my plan, at least, to try
Simmer down
to
a bit.
let's not order stuff
Yeah.
because this is a pain to get rid of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
But-
So did y'all already have like the RV before y'all start the process? No.
Oh,
We
no,
had never even taken out an RV. Like
I wasn't a
been in
truck.
an RV.
Yeah, I wasn't a truck guy. I never towed.
Yeah. So when we had listed our house for sale, we had kind of listed at the worst timing ever. It was right when the interest rate started going up. And so kind of that whole period was just kind of a unknown thing. And so we just didn't know where the economy was going, where the world was going. And so we ended up moving in with my mom because we were in Utah at the time and it was snowy and cold. And I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I'm done. We got rid of so much and I don't want to live in an empty home. I want to go be with my family. I haven't seen them forever. So we went and lived with my family. And that actually ended up being a year and a half that we ended up doing that. And so during that, we were just trying to figure out what boat we wanted to get. But at that point, that's when all the homes and everything was listed at top dollar. And crazy enough, sailboats were also listed at top dollar. And so the boat we originally had wanted was around $1 million and it was close to 1.9 to 2. And I was like, I'm not going to pay double for a boat. And we also, our nest egg of stocks, that all crashed.
Yeah, that took a big hit. And so we just all crashed. We just found, we were just kind of in this situation where like, okay, we don't have a house now. We still want to live nomadic and explore and get out and not have a place to store all our stuff. Because I feel like that was the one thing that we would get into is we'd have a house, it had a basement, it had spare rooms, it had storage closet. It just had places to put stuff too. And so it's like the sooner we can get out of this, sooner we can get into a smaller space where there really literally is no place to put stuff. That'll help us out too.
Yeah. With our overconsumption.
So we found we started looking at RVs and that was a good, it was eye-opening to be like, okay, we could totally make this happen, make this work. Took us a while to find the one we wanted. And even then we're learning as we're going along.
You're getting a new rig in a few months.
Well, that'd be nice. But then, another question that we did not ask that's very important also for the listeners. What did you do prior to selling everything? Kelsey, did you work? Jake, did you have a job? What happened with that?
Yeah, so I was working full-time in software product. And when COVID kind of happened, I was able to start working remote. And so that was a nice kind of thing. And that was also part of the option is like, okay, well, at least I'll be able to work while we're out on the road. It might be different time zones and shift like that a little bit, but that was kind of the main thing. Is that hopefully the plan was I would still be working. Yeah.
I've just been a stay-at-home mom and just working on our YouTube channel, Hang with the Bangs.
That's a big job.
That's not no just.
Sometimes it's like, no, I prefer to go to work.
Yeah. Twin toddlers was an adventure, a great one. We were so grateful. We like hope and prayed for them for years, but being a mom is a full-time job for sure.
It is.
So Jake and Kelsey, could you explain what nomadic means so for the audience so everybody can kind of understand what that term is?
Yeah. So nomadic just means not really having a fixed place where or fixed location, I think, where you live. That's how I would term nomadic. So you pack up and travel and go place to place and take your stuff with you. Yeah. Okay.
And so what was your aha moment to where I have got to get out of debt? Was there something that triggered that feeling? Because that was a big, huge decision to sell everything, sell your house. So you had to have something click in you to say, we need to do something different.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with debt, I feel like it's always there in the back of your mind if you have it. When you have debt, it's like, you might forget about it when you go on a vacation or, day to day, but it's still there in the back of your mind and it's still like gnawing away at your soul. I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the aha for you?
Kids. For me, it was kids. I feel like all of a sudden seeing those precious babies and their just faces and realizing, oh my gosh, what a blessing we have these miracles in our lives, but then also realizing, oh my gosh, I need to step it up and I need to change the way I'm living if I want them to be able to have the life we want to provide for them. And so for me, it was kids.
Okay. Yeah, well, that is so good. And what you have not told the audience, which I'm like, really? I need you to tell them how many bodies are in your RV and what is the square footage?
Yeah. So yeah, I did mention
Very cozy.
we are learning, and we're learning we need something a little bit bigger. We're about what, 250 square feet?
240.
240
square feet. It's a 30-foot rig, no slide outs, no extensions, and I feel like there's 5 of us in here because our dog is the size of a human.
He's 80 pounds.
Yeah, sorry, you can hear him right now too. He hears the storms coming. We're actually in Florida right now. We're evacuating tomorrow. I know, right? I know. Yeah, I know. Don't worry, we're evacuating tomorrow, but yeah, when there's like weather, he just turns into a hot mess. So we have our dog and our twin daughters and us.
And we complain that we have 1,800 square feet, 1,600 square feet. So that was a dramatic change for you. And how big was your home?
3,500 square feet.
Oh wow. So woo, that's
a
like
bit of a change. Yeah, really big of a change. Oh, here's our dog. This is Zeke.
Hi, dog. He wants to get in the shot too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a big adjustment for us, was changing square footage, but I didn't realize how much of our square footage was to house our things. Like I was this one thing I didn't realize is like, I just always felt like we needed a bigger house. Like we always needed to make more money. We needed to have more. And don't get me wrong, those are great goals and those can be good things. But for us with our overconsumption, it wasn't. And I realized I just wanted more to house more things is what it came down to.
wow. So I can only imagine how that reduced your cost of living from living in a bigger home to 240 square feet of living space. Could you talk about that a little bit as well? How did that?
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of the stuff that I know that I would always keep around is like, just it seemed like little things, but like things that I'd always think, oh, well, I'm going to need this for when so-and-so comes over, when such and such happens. I mean, that's me. I would take that look of those things. And a lot of those things I would keep around and realizing, no, I don't need that. Since I don't have the space for it now, I will get it when I need it. And it will be more of a consumable is kind of my look, like say candles for a birthday party or balloons, or I don't know. We would keep a lot of that kind of stuff around back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, but for cost wise, like and living in our home, we were paying our mortgage. I think we had bought our home for it was close to 600,000, and our mortgage was about 2,400 a month or so. And then we had like sewage, trash, all of those utilities. I think that was usually around 300. We had a really small yard, so Jake would mow it and do all of that. So I feel like our minimum expenses, like living in a home just to like maintain the home, was around $3,000. And that was like at our top cap. Like I felt like we were maxed out at that. And it's funny because so we're in an Airstream right now. That's what our RV is called. And we bought it for what was like 124.
Yeah, 120 or so.
100, and we paid cash for it, which was awesome. But it's crazy living in a small space. Like I just feel so much comfort every night, like having that paid off. And I can't even going from severe debt to like not having debt is the most incredible feeling. But our finances now, if we were to stay at RV parks for a month long, which RV parks are where you go and hook up your RV, you have water, sewage, usually laundry services, and kind of a lot of just your regular amenities that you have. It's anywhere between $30 to like $70 a night, depending on where you're staying. And the longer you stay, the cheaper your rate is. So like if we were to stay at a month, depending on where it's at, it's usually around like $1,000 for a month. But for a week, it's usually around $350 to $400. And so right now we move week to week because we're trying to see as much as we can, do as much as we can. But if we wanted to be more budget conscious, we could definitely living a really nice lifestyle, like in an RV park for about $1,000 a month, when that would cover our utilities and all of that. So, I mean, that's a big drastic difference from like $3,000 to $1,000. And we know lots of people too that do, it's called boondocking, where you're just on
like public land, BLM land, where you could just go out and you don't need power, you run off solar, you have your water tanks filled up and you stay out there and it's free. Like, we know people who do that stuff.
So there's really a lot of options to do it much more affordable than how we're doing it. We're probably not being as best with our money as we could be.
But you know what? You said a word that kind of got me. You said severe debt. What does having severe debt do to you and Jake, like emotionally? Like, were you stressed a lot? Were you like, did you like run out of what they say month? No, did the money run out before the month did? Right. Like, were you short with money? How did it affect you having severe debt?
I think it definitely was. I think I mentioned, kind of how draining it was. What would happen? I'm trying to think how. Yeah.
Can I jump in? Because I know how I felt. I am someone that, like, I would set a goal and I would get so anxious and so hyper focused on it that I would go out of control with my shopping. I just like let my emotions get the best of me. And so luckily Jake's like such a sweet, supportive husband, because most people would probably be so mad that, oh my gosh, my wife is shopping again. She's getting us more in debt and taking this to a whole new level. But I mean, he's been such a sweet, supportive husband when he definitely could have, been frustrated with a lot of that. But I feel like that debt, like, it would just eat at me and I wouldn't even realize that's why I was like acting out in other ways. Like, that's why I was shopping. And as soon as all of a sudden I realized I'm shopping because I'm in debt, and I'm trying to pretend I'm not in debt.
That is so powerful. Keep going. That's what a lot of people do every day.
Right.
So we didn't ever really get to that point where we didn't have money, so to speak, but it was because we just kept on putting it more on a credit card, like you just put more on the credit card and you're like, well, I guess we're still living just fine because.
But I remember though being like going to get groceries or like things that we actually needed. And I remember swiping like my debit card and being like, oh my gosh, please go through, please go through, please go through. Just because I knew I was just being crazy and who knows what's in there. And so
I was keeping it, but yes, but still, I'm having to pay just the bare minimums towards the credit cards and it's adding up and you're seeing, okay, a lot of this is interest and we're just throwing money away at that point.
Yeah.
But
Ooh. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Thank you for saying that. I hope they're listening. Don't do it.
Worth it. It isn't. It isn't.
You're sacrificing all your time to pay for stuff that you really sometimes probably don't even need.
Yeah.
So your family time, just the time you could spend together, all that time is sacrificed.
Well, exactly. And then in our situation, we literally took so much of that stuff just to donate. I mean, piles and piles of the stuff that I was just consuming like crazy.
Some of it was even still new, or like practical, like, maybe a dress or something or a jacket you only wear once or twice. And then we're like, well, I guess I don't need this, so I should get rid of it. And
so much just all had tags on it, was never used. We just donated or gave it away or
tried to sell. We tried to sell as much as we could, and because that was a painful process. But you see, you're like, wow, I paid $200 for this, and I'm only getting $50 for it. Like,
yes,
I just threw that money away. Yeah,
right, you did. And so I bet the audience wants to know: after you all liquidated everything, were you completely debt free?
We were, So we actually had gotten out of debt before we started selling everything. So we sat down. So when we had made our game plan, I said, okay, well, we need to get out of debt because that's the first thing that's haunting my mind. So it was crazy. We had been trying years to get this debt paid off. And I just want to say, if anyone makes a game plan and sits down and writes down how you're going to do it, your steps and what you're putting in order, like, and make yourself accountable and get in it, like, be accountable to each other. And you can do it. We got that 80,000 paid off. Well, at that point we had about 60,000 left. We got it paid off in 6 months. 6 months.
6 months.
And it was haunting us for years, and we paid it off in 6 months.
But yeah, during those 6 months, I mean, we were not doing any vacations. We were not doing any shot like that. That's how we're just like, we are just going to heads down. All the money we get, anything we're doing is going to pay this off.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
That before you even sold everything.
6 months. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we just buckled down. We looked through every bank account we had. We all of a sudden realized, oh, sweet, he had like $12,000 in stocks from a company he used to work at that we had totally forgotten about. So we cashed that out. Like, there were just so many miracles in that. Yeah.
Keep going, girl.
God is so good. So good. And if you put that game plan into motion, like, he's going to help you.
Wow.
Look, I'm like, you know that. Look, that's touching. Yeah, because people like really commit suicide, you know, over debt. They give up on life over debt. Debt breaks up families. It breaks up marriages. And so for you to say it this way, it has to touch somebody. Just make a plan, and the Lord, He can work a miracle for you, because y'all are a miracle. And the step that y'all took to go into an RV,
that was extreme,
right? Like, I don't know if my husband would go for that.
That was extreme.
Yes.
But it worked because you're debt free. You have a peace of mind, and you ain't really got to worry about day to day what we're gonna do about this debt that's lingering over our heads, right? Because you're debt free.
Right. Yeah. And then guess what? I bet everybody else want to know. Well, how are y'all surviving now?
That's a good question. Surviving. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like,
So for a good chunk of time, I was still working, and that was honestly, I mean, covering more than what we needed for driving around, and, you know, our gas and the RV costs. And
we felt like we were living like kings and queens.
I know,
like, we was like, what? This is the best. Like, so fun.
But work was getting a little too much for me. I was too engaged in it, too committed to it, where I was neglecting the family side of things.
He thinks so.
I felt that way, and
job.
So ultimately, so it was back in March. I quit my job, and we've just been living off our savings since then, trying to focus on the YouTube channel, trying to focus on, you know, other avenues of like, hey, can we be more self-sufficient that don't require me to be.
Which that's the cool thing is I just would have, you know, like the other day I was totally having a panic attack because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been like 8 months that we have not had an income coming in, and wasting our savings that we have worked so hard for. You know, like Jake was so cute. He was like, we're investing in ourselves and we're investing in our dreams, and we're going to make it happen. Like, just like we were able to make it happen before. We're going to trust in the Lord. We're going to keep going, and we're going to make this happen. Like, if we've done it before, we've already shown we can do it. We're going to do it again. It just might not be in our timeline that we were necessarily hoping for. And so, but I mean, that's the great thing is being out of debt. Like, you just have some of those options that I just never imagined before. I feel like our dreams are able to be so much bigger, and they feel like they're actually possible in a lot of ways.
You said something that was powerful because being out of debt gives you options, right? When you're in debt, your options are very limited, but being out of debt, you have so many more options that you can select from. That's pretty powerful.
It is. I'm just so impressed with y'all. I'm so glad that God allowed our paths to cross. Because like, even just talking to y'all and making me think bigger, and like, y'all had to be on the same page, you know, and that's one thing with marriage. You have to communicate. Had y'all not been on the same page, this would have never, ever worked, ever.
Yeah, you're so right. And I do think that is something that is super huge, because I feel like you were such a big support to me and cheering me on, and you never made me feel bad either. Like, when we were going out and if I like went over budget on something or things like that, you were just always like, okay, well, where can we take out money for, because we had gone through and created 7 bank accounts and did like a savings. We just had just changed everything up and just kind of went through a money process of things. And you know, he was always cute. He was like, okay, well, let's take money from our fund money and put it over here so you can have those Oreos or whatever it was.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
definitely
that.
being a team is huge.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting too, as we're going along through this process, is like we do find we have to still consistently try to make sure, hey, are we still on the same page? Like, we still need to, even though we're done doing X, Y, or Z, we're like, okay, well, let's reset, let's connect, make sure, are we still on the same page towards the goal we're trying to hit? Or, and I think that's an important thing too, because it might feel sometimes that we're not, we feel like, oh, wait, you're buying that, or like we're buying this, or are we really, is this really what we should be doing? And so it's just nice to, this is all on her.
Evaluate as you go.
She's good at doing this. I'm the terrible communicator when it comes to feelings, but she'll always pry it out at me and be like, no, how do you
Well, that's good.
feel? I'm like, it doesn't matter what I feel. But I'm like, no, but how do you really feel? Are we on the same page? And so, yeah, it's just
That is so good. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Jake, did you have to learn how to drive the RV and maneuver this thing and all of that? Y'all had to
oh
get a
yeah,
new
yeah, we totally had to learn it all. And we're still learning. I mean, Kelsey actually does most of the driving. I'll back it in. I'm more comfortable backing in and stuff like that, but she gets motion sickness, and so I navigate.
Yeah,
I let her drive.
Right when we bought it, I like looked at him. I was like, "It's okay if I drive, because if I don't do it now, I don't know when I ever will." And so I drove it home. We had a 2-hour drive from the RV dealership down to our home, and and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do this. This will be fun."
Okay, yeah. So y'all have the RV that you drive. You don't have like the trailer that you hook to one of these big
No, so
pickups.
it is hooked on.
It is hooked on. Yeah, so it's a trailer, so it hooks on with the
back of the truck. Yeah.
Oh wow! And she drives that thing.
See?
All right, go girl.
See?
Yeah, because I'm.
See?
What other questions you got? Because I'm
Well,
like
I do.
staying in line because they coming back.
I do. I have another question. So the question I have is, what advice would you give someone who's looking to maybe venture into the same path that y'all did? What advice would you kind of give them?
Best advice, the same. Oh man, I'd say, I guess, so for part of that process of getting rid of things, I'd feel like the advice that I wish I had is like, I kept on thinking that it would happen all at once. Like I'd go through my closet, downsize everything in one go, and just be like, here's my 5 outfits or 7 outfits, or, and then I'm good. But it was a lot harder than that. And I found like going back and revisiting. So I would say, hey, like just do little bits at a time if you're trying to purge or get rid of things, and then go back and revisit, step away, go back in a few days and try it again. That'd be my advice and tips, because it was crazy. Every time I would do that, I would step away. I'd get rid of as much as I thought I could. I'd step away, then I'd come back, and a few days later, I'd try it again. I'd be like, yeah, no, I can totally let go of this thing now. Or like things that before the first round, I wasn't able to let go. So that's be what I would advise, to try to let go of things.
Yeah, and I'd even say too, for like RV life and things like that, if I would have realized too, like being in a smaller space, you literally can only bring in how much is in here. And I think if I kind of would have realized that and put it together, I think I would have said, let's just get rid of everything right now and move into an RV, and we will change our habits as we go, and just be patient with yourself on realizing that it's going to take some time to adjust. Because I mean, I found even too, like there's been times where all of a sudden I'll get on Amazon and I'll be ordering a bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, wait, what am I doing? What am I doing? I need to like remind myself, I don't need this. I don't need to do this. And so let's get what I only really need, or what the kids need, or, whatever. So I think just being patient with yourself through the process and going for it. And like you said, just like revisiting things and making sure that you're just being accountable, and just, I feel like finding an accountability partner and just let them know your goals and have them hold you to it and go for it. Like you never know what you can do unless you go for it.
That's right. And then I have just two more questions. Can I hold you for 5 more minutes?
Yeah, you betcha. We're all yours.
Okay. And so my next thing is, because we want to know, I'm sure that everybody else want to know, what is next for the Bang?
Ooh, what is next?
Well,
we definitely need a larger RV, just slightly larger. We don't have like a bedroom door.
There's no doors in here.
We have a door on the bathroom, and that's it. And so kind of realize, I mean, there's just some things where it's like, no, if someone really wants to get some heads down work and the kids are also up doing like bouncing around off the walls doing something, it just is a slightly too hard. It'd be nice to be able to shut a door and be like, nope, no kids coming in here. That would be nice.
So we're planning on getting a new rig. We've been waiting for the new models to come out for the next year, because we haven't found one that's like speaks to us yet. Like there's been some models that are really close, but yeah, we just want to see what the new models coming out are. And I mean, ideally it would be nice to find like a used one, but we just haven't found any that with like our perfect setup that we're hoping for. And so yeah, we'll do that. And then ideally we'd like to get out on the water. We've gone and got all of our sailing certifications. We've went and done all of our like sailing courses. So when we see those boat prices get to where we're liking, we'll jump on it and hopefully go for it. So that would be really fun.
So your next purchase is going to be a boat and not an RV?
Well, we'll do an RV next.
It'll probably be a slightly larger RV next, yeah.
And then hopefully within a few years, we're hoping to be out on a boat. So that would be our ideal.
In any location where you want to launch from, Atlantic, Pacific?
Yeah,
depends if our dog's alive. I hope he lives forever. He's like the best dog in the world. But if he's alive, we'll probably be US bound and kind of Mexico, Bahamas area.
Okay.
Yeah, probably the Atlantic.
Just because a lot of other areas can be harder with dogs and customs and stuff. With some areas they have to go through quarantines and things like that. And our dog gets very anxious. And so I just feel like if we were to put him in that situation, it just would not be good for him.
So yeah, we'd mostly probably stay stateside, even with the boat, or a few little jaunts here and there, but yeah.
Not a lot though. He's 8. He's a big Aussie Doodle dog. And so their lifespan is about 10 to 14 years, depending on the dog. So
but yeah, we could do the Mediterranean. We could start anywhere else. I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
Yeah. We'd probably buy a boat internationally and fly over and then start from there.
That sounds good. And so John had told you before you got on here that I could pop the question. So you made another question come to my mind. And that is, can you tell mothers and fathers how you're going to manage your children once they are school age? What are you going to do about education?
Yeah. So we've already been looking into it. And yeah, we're going to take a stab at homeschooling, see how that goes.
Yeah. Our home base is in Arizona. So one thing that's been nice about RV life is we have family in a couple different places. So we have a few different home bases. So Arizona is kind of our so our main home base is in Arizona. And so Arizona State actually has where you can get some of your tax money back that usually would go to the public school system with your kids enrolled in it, but it would actually come back and you could use it for curriculum, museums, different kinds of activities. So when we were down there for the holidays this year, we're going to make sure that we get our kids enrolled for the following school year and see what we need to do to be able to qualify for some of those things. Because we don't mind paying out of pocket for those activities, but if we're able to get some of our tax money back, that just seems like the smart thing to do in that situation. So
I completely agree with that. That would be a smart thing to do.
For curriculum, though, we're hoping to do one called The Good and the Beautiful, and we've heard great things about it. We have a couple friends that are on it, and so they recommend getting involved in like homeschool groups online and being able to get some ideas. And, so we'll have lots of research to do when we get going on that.
Okay. And that's perfect. And then the one last question, because you and Jake are such a very unique couple, I'm going to ask each one of you to give one nugget that you can do, that's something that you can say that could help the listener, because y'all are so unique.
Oh, you're so sweet.
It's the truth.
Have something.
One nugget. Yeah, when it comes to finances, and I think it's important just to always be be paying attention to your balances, always be paying attention to kind of your savings, because if you're working towards a goal, that's how you'll see the change. You'll either see, number go up, number go down, and if you're staying on track, and that's just check once a day. That's my nugget. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Check once a day. Okay. Kelsey.
Oh, if it's a financial nugget, I think don't be scared to look at yourself in the mirror and realize you're wrong. I think that's something that I I just didn't realize. I think I just was just having so much fun and just feeling like, oh, I'm living the life. This is great. This is so fun. But not really realizing and reflecting what my actions were doing and how it was impacting our family. And like looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness, we could have been so much further along in life. Like we could have been already living our dream out on a sailboat if we were in that if we never put ourselves in this situation. And so I think sometimes just being able to like self-reflect and realize it's okay, it's not a big deal, like you got yourself in here and it might take some time to get out of there. Like it didn't, I think for me, I just felt I was going to go so quick. I have this game plan, it's going to happen. But realizing it took us years of habits to get here, it's okay if it takes years of new habits to get out of it. The point is you're making progress and you're moving towards it. And so it's okay, just have that long, so maybe setting a longer term goal of saying, maybe 3 years is where it's going to take us to get out of this 80,000 debt. But as long as I'm seeing steps of progress, like celebrate those victories and be excited along the way and, find little things that can make you happy to celebrate those things. So yeah, I think that's what it would be.
Replacing old habits with new habits.
Yes, y'all have
like
just been amazing. I can't even express to you in words how thankful and how grateful we are to have you. Like it's for the listeners, but this has truly been a blessing for us too. So thank you so much for joining the Money Talk, Bartel's Money Talk. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much for having us, because we never thought in a million years that we would have been on this other side. When you're in debt and it just feels so heavy, you don't ever think I'm going to be on the other side sharing how we got out of debt. But it can happen. It can happen. And you never know what's going to happen until you put your mind towards it. You can do big, awesome, amazing things.
Yes, you can. So now they just need to tell the audience, how can they find you? Because you are so good. I know people are going to want to follow you and see what y'all are up to.
So our channel is Hang with the Bangs. And we're on YouTube, mostly is where we focus most of our efforts, but we also
TikTok, we're on everything else too. But we just share about daily RV life and our adventures and just kind of living small but living large in ways. So
I like it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for joining us on Bartel's Money Talk, and we look forward to having this conversation once again.
Oh, well, we're excited. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank y'all.